This is Indonesia, a tropical country that, with its 14,000 islands, stretches from mainland Southeast Asia all the way to the Australian continent. Within the centuries of its history, it has been influenced by different civilizations and cultures, from Hinduism, animism and Buddhism, to become more recently the fourth most populous Muslim country. It has a population of about 260 million people. Although most of the population lives in remote areas, some big cities have been growing up and gathering a lot of population within their limits. There is a substantial difference between people living in remote areas, which still make up most of the population, and people living in urban areas. Most of the population living in remote areas is still poor, but relies on a system of self-sustainability that allows them to provide for their own livelihood, even if simple.
Nama saya Bu Wahyuni, alamat saya di Bunut, Sumberwungu, Tepus, Gunung Kidul. Anak saya 2. Suami saya pekerjaannya ternak sapi sama kambing. Terus saya kerjanya jualan sembako sama gorengan sama nasi tiap hari. Anak saya yang satu sudah lulus SMK, yang satu TK. Semuanya laki-laki. Kehidupan saya ya sederhana. Alhamdulillah bisa makan, bisa itu biasa saya itu ya kesehariannya gitu. Suami saya kerjanya cari rumput, terus tani gitu.
People living in the city are subjected to an increasing gap between the rich and the poor part of the population. The population in Central Java has been gathering up to a few big cities, one of which is the city we're in at the moment, Yogyakarta. Most of the young population leaves the fields and come to the city in order to get technical degrees. Almost the totality of the students are studying technical subjects in the hope that industrialization will skyrocket in the near future, and that they will be able to make up for their own living with a very profitable job.
Hello, my name is Iksan. I am 19. I'm from Yogyakarta, and I study at Gajah Mada University, Yogyakarta, and I want to be an engineer. What I want to change from Indonesia is about the public transportation. Why? Because I think the public transportation cannot be the primary transportation for the people, and that is not a good condition for me.
My name is Ridwan. I'm 17 years old. I'm come from Jakarta. Now I study at Gajah Mada University. In the future, I want to create an car industry.
Hello, my name is Leonie. I'm 18 years old. I'm student at Gajah Mada University, and I want to be a woman engineer. Ingin saya rubah dari negara saya itu, bagaimana negara saya itu bisa mengubah bagaimana untuk memperlakukan seorang peneliti atau engineer dalam ketika mereka mengerahkan kemampuan mereka untuk membangun bangsa kita sendiri.
Although economic growth in Indonesia is one of the highest among that of other developing countries, the hopes of these young people will most probably not met in their entirety in the future. Out to the paddy fields again. And here they'll face one of the biggest possible problems in their lives. Here comes the importance of implementing projects, social projects that are directly targeting the development of agricultural areas of the country. This has urged us and IPSO's board of directors in the first place to reach out to the international community and clients that might be interested in a more sustainable social development of Indonesia. We then came up with the idea of providing drinking water and water for irrigation to a very remote area of central Java, not very far from the city of Yogyakarta. Within the island of Central Java in Indonesia, we're in the former Sultanate of Yogyakarta and in Tepus district of Giripanggun. This area, as most of Indonesia and most of Southeast Asia, is highly influenced by the monsoons. Thus, the only seasons they have are the rainy season and the dry season. They both last for about 4 to 6 months each. During the rainy season, the people living in the area have a lot of water. During the dry season, the following 4 to 6 months, they don't have water at all. We're in February at the moment, at the peak of the rainy season. Answering to a need and a direct request from the local people, IPSO's board of directors came out with an idea and designed a project that could provide water for irrigation and particularly drinking water to the people of this area. This area, let me remind you, is one of the poorest in all of Central Java. And the people during the dry season have to sell their livestock and all their commodities to buy drinking water. This endeavor started 4 years ago when we had a pilot project at location Gubaan 1, where we provided the community of about 350 to 400 people with water enough for the whole dry season. Then the following project was here in Banjar, where we provided a community double the size of the one in Gubaan 1, the necessary water, drinking water, for the whole dry season. The rainwater is collected at the highest ground of the village, which is the roof of the local mosque, which is up there. This is the highest ground in the village of Banjar, where the mosque is located. The roof of the mosque is our main harvesting surface, and its surface and the dimension and capacity of the tanks were calculated depending on precipitations, average precipitations and rainfall for the rainy season, which lasts for about 4 to 6 months a year. The water that is harvested through rainfall on the rooftop here is funneled into these green gutters, and it goes into the main tank, this one on the left, which is the filter tank. Okay, so let's go up and see what Kumud, our consultant expert on water, is doing to check the tanks. Hi Kumud.
Hi, Gianluca.
So would you briefly explain us what's the purpose of the filter, how does it work, what's in it?
So to provide that clean water, as you can see, there are a lot of leaves, and you'll see that if the water comes from the roof, there'll be birds and bird poops and all of that. So there are all kinds of materials here. So we have to make sure that the water is very clean. So the water comes over here. There are 3 sections, three compartments in this tank. The first one is a holding tank, and the second part has layers of filters. So the water actually goes from the top, and then it filters through sand, and then there's a layer of charcoal in between, which is activated carbon that removes most of the contaminants, and then it goes through the sand filter again, and then from the bottom it moves to the third tank. The third tank has another several layers of filters, goes through sand first, and there are rocks and pebbles, and then ultimately there is a ceramic clay, and then the water comes out on the top and goes to the third holding tank. This is the tank where the filtering happens, and the filtered water that is then collected and goes to this holding tank. This is the holding tank, and you can see this tank is significantly larger than this filtering tank. This is where we have clean water stored, and that's where we're going to get our water for tasting. So here this is the clean water, filtered water. We're testing for bacteria because, as I explained earlier, all the leaves and the bird poops and all of that, the most important thing for us to taste is whether or not there are pathogens. So we're trying to see if there's a bacteria present here. We're making sure that there is no bacteria in the water, so we just taste it. So if there was a line, that would mean that there's a bacteria here, but we don't see anything, so that means the water is very clean. So the filtering system is working well.
Great, now that Kumud told us that the water is clean, let's see how it gets distributed to the village. And that will be explained by our friend and our here consultant for this project too.
The distribution system relies only on gravity. Taking advantage of the difference of head between this location and the rest of the village, water is distributed through this pipeline that runs downhill to the water tanks that are at household level. The households are divided in 3 groups that are supplied by these 3 pipes, and water can be supplied by controlling these 3 taps. The distribution system doesn't include any electric operated pump. The principle is whatever doesn't move won't break, and this is the reason why we decided to keep the system as simple as possible in order to decrease the sources of failure and the cost of maintenance.
So we've seen how we use gravity in this project to send the water that is collected uphill at the mosque, and it is conveyed through the pipes within the bricks, and then the pipe will go down the street level and water is distributed at the first group of the households in single individual tanks. We've seen how one of the main pipes up there at street level, which is regulated by a tap, is connected to the sub-pipe here that connects all the tanks next to the individual households. And we can see here one of those tanks.
The operators are instructed to first open the tap at the inlet flow of the water to this tank. Afterwards, they will open the tap at the main tank in order to avoid the development of a pressure wave within the pipe, a phenomenon known as water hammer that can damage the components of the distribution system. Each tank is equipped with a collection tap and a tap for the removal of the deposited sediments. For the general maintenance of the tank, there is a LED on the top of the tank that allows the operator to enter the tank and clean it properly.
In this village of almost 800 people, we provided them with 35 of these round tanks, and the main tanks are uphill for a total of 400 cubic meters of clean water. A system exact to this one will be replicated in the neighboring village with the same number of people and the same number of tanks, for an altogether of almost 1,500 people being targeted with this big project.
Lo sareng entuk bak niku kangge air bersih niku kangge minum, kangge masak-memasak, nyuci sayuran. Ngoten niku nang saderenge gadah bak niku kula gadah bak lami niku napa-napa nggih niku. Tinggi nyuci, tinggi minum, tinggi masak, nggih kewan napa nggih. Nang bak setunggal niku sareng dipun paringi bak air bersih niku saged milah dados sing kula gunake kangge anu nglebete badan kula nggih saking bak air bersih niku. Nah sing kangge nyuci pakaian nggih kewan ngoten niku gadane piyambak sing pun lami ngoten niku. Lajeng raose seneng sanget sampet awet ngaten sampun saged milah sing air bersih niki, sing air boten bersih niki ngoten dadi pun saged milah dadi raose ati kula niku seneng sak warga niku ngaten Ibu. Nggih nang ngoten niku saged kula jelaske ngoten niku.
Kalau musim musim hujan ini kan kebanyakan di rumah, tapi kalau musim kemarau kebanyakan di sana. Kalau kemaraunya panjang, apalagi yang belum punya penampungan air di rumah itu kebanyakan pakainya di telaga. Tapi ya kalau musim hujan gini ya kebanyakan di rumah pakainya.
Saya mengucapkan terima kasih atas pembantuan dari tangki-tangki. Sebelum saya menerima bantuan dari tangki, saya juga punya bak penampungan air tapi belum mencukupi untuk kebutuhan sehari-hari. Jadi sebelum saya diberi tangki, saya satu kemarau itu kira-kira 5 tangki 6.000-an liter. Jadi satu kemarau itu mencapai 5 kali 180.000. Setelah ini saya menampung dari air hujan disalurkan ke tangki-tangki untuk air bersih, untuk mencukupi minum sehari-hari dan untuk kebutuhan memasak. Jadi bak saya sendiri yang buatan sendiri saya gunakan untuk mencuci, untuk mandi dan untuk minum hewan.
In order to provide the community and the people in this area with all the possibilities to maximize the benefits of having water all year long, we also provided a new project in Regadeg where we built a pond for the people to have water for irrigation purposes. Here we have built on a precedently built pond and partially walled pond, a pond, an open-air reservoir. The location of the pond is ideal in the sense that it is located in a valley and it is in between a village and most of the agricultural lands in this area. The hills and the water coming from the hills, flowing down from the hills, is again funneled into very big round pipes that will come downhill through 2 different locations, and then they will converge together very close to a gate. When this gate is closed, the water flowing in will go directly to the main pond. The main pond is where the villagers will collect the water for their own daily purposes, such as irrigation, washing some vegetables, for example, and for some other daily chores. When the gate is instead opened, the water flowing from the neighboring hills will go directly to a smaller part of the pond, where the villagers will go in with the animals and will wash the animals. It is absolutely important for the villagers to collect water here because they will be provided with the unique and absolutely fundamental opportunity to have water for irrigation throughout the whole year. The water that comes into the pond, especially during the rainy season, is periodically tested by our water experts here, and after the project will be handed over to the villagers, there will be the villagers themselves testing the water with the kits that we provide. With this and similar projects in the future, we are hoping that the communities and the people living in the whole area will benefit not only from water, but all the indirect consequences of having water all year long. Some of these indirect benefits are, for example, the possibility to sell the livestock and other commodities and not use the revenues for drinking water to buy drink water, but also to send, for example, the kids to school or to provide for the other expenses necessary to every household.
Dari peserta musyawarah harus kita
jam 2 pagi itu sudah pergi ke pasar. Jam 7 pagi itu pulang dari pasar langsung istirahat sebentar, sekitar jam 8 tidur sampai jam 10. Setelah tidur jam 11 pergi ke ladang cari rumput untuk pakan hewan. Terus pulang dari ladang sekitar jam 2 pergi lagi ke pasar Wonosari untuk belanja. Tiap hari gituan.
Kalau musim hujan itu untuk itu nyuci ya. Kalau musim kemarau itu untuk itu siram-siram tanaman yang dekat-dekat itu ya untuk irigasi. Terus saya sangat senang itu dapat bantuan telaga.
All field projects will benefit a population of more than 5,000 people. In particular, one of the strong points of this project is that the technology and the skills used to provide the systems are simple enough to be used by the local people after our project is ended. The men and women used as labor force for this project have got the necessary skills to build a similar system by themselves. And this is one of the indirect implications of our project. These people will be used as labor force in neighboring villages in order to create and design similar systems that could help a larger community and neighboring villages.